Hello and welcome along to yet another episode of Lives on Lockdown. Join me because after the break I'm going to be here in the studio with Mary Martin. Right, welcome back. It's Andrew Eborn here, live on Lives on Lockdown. Delighted to be joined by Mary Martin. Hello, Mary.
Hello, how are you? Sorry about the other day.
Amazing. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Been busy working in the lockdown, keeping myself busy.
Busiest people that I know. It's that four-letter word, busy, for Mary Martin. It's got to be good.
Workaholic.
I know. So tell me how you've been coping in lockdown. What have you been up to?
Well, first of all, I started off eating. In the room with four walls. I was eating for maybe 8 weeks. But before that, I actually had the virus, and I couldn't move.
How did you know you had the virus? What were the symptoms?
Oh, okay. The symptoms were I'm a high risk anyway because I got chronic lung disease, and basically, the symptoms what I had the first day I was throwing up like The Exorcist, like. Wah! 3 times I did that, couldn't stop. That was the first day. Second day, I felt like I was run over by a truck. The third day, my voice just completely disappeared, and I couldn't speak, and I was lifeless. I couldn't move, and it felt like my lungs were stuck together like super glue. That was the feeling.
Oh, nightmare.
So I was like that.
Did you go and see a doctor?
I phoned up the doctor, the online doc. 3 times I called her. She told me to take myself down to the hospital, but once you go in there, you're not coming out anyway. So I thought to myself, I said to her, no, I'm not going to the hospital because I can't even move. So she gave me 10 days of aminoxidil, antibiotics for 10 days. And then after the 10 days, I wasn't fully well, but I thought to myself, just do what I can. And I took honey, lemon, and ginger for the next 2 weeks. I didn't drink any cold drinks at all, just piping hot honey, lemon, and ginger for 2 weeks, non-stop, honey, lemon, and ginger, and then that sorted me out. Oh yeah, then after that, because I was sick and I had lost weight, so I thought, God, I'm dying. So I started eating a lot of food, and then I put on so much weight. Then I started doing a jogging regime. My tits were dropping down to my ankles, honestly, and my bum was dropping down to the floor as well. I just had to keep running. And as you know, I go to the gym like 4 times a week, so my body's just spread out like butter, and it's awful. So I'm just on a jogging period at the minute.
And so did the doctors, and were you tested to make sure that you had the virus, or you just assume you had it?
No, I did have the virus. I wasn't going to be tested because I wasn't going to go to the hospital. There's no way I'm going into the hospital because I hate hospitals. The last time I went to the hospital to have a blood test, the nurse, the needle got stuck in my arm, and I screamed the place down, and everybody ran out. So I never ever went back, and I'm not going back.
Well, this is part of the problem, is people are scared unnecessarily so of the hospitals, and a lot of people who should be going are not necessarily going because of that fear. And I think it's the best thing to do is to follow the medical advice. So firstly,
I don't think so.
Look at that sort of side.
Because last year, my uncle, he had a cold or a flu, and basically they put him in hospital on the Monday, and by the Friday he was dead because he caught MRSA. Is it MRS?
No, I understand, and it's very difficult, isn't it? When you've got those sort of family history, fear does set in, and I think that's
exactly.
and one of the things that always spreads, Mary, is fear, and it's trying to get to the facts and reassure people and to follow the advice which was given, because all of the stuff about what you've taken may have worked for you personally, but I don't know what the medical advice was. So you were told, when you said you had the symptoms, you were told to go to hospital. You were too scared to go to hospital, but you self-isolated at home?
I self-isolated, and as you know, I love moringa. I'd started taking boiled moringa leaves and the seeds, and I got better.
So yeah, I know you're a big advocate of moringa. And in terms of, but are you feeling better now?
I feel like 85% better. 85% better, and I think that's good enough. That's good enough. I mean, I've actually feel better than I've ever felt for a long while. You know, I do feel a lot better.
Well, you're
As you know,
looking great, and you've
as
got
you
the
know, I
same.
had pneumonia.
Yeah.
I had pneumonia last year because I got the chronic lung disease, but this is the best I've ever felt in ages.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you are looking fantastic. You're looking back on form and everything. And there are tests now which will be able to confirm, once they're available for people, whether or not you actually
Yeah.
had it. And then that will probably give you some sort of level of comfort. But let's go back to the story of Mary Martin, because it is a wonderful story, and how you got involved in the fashion industry. When you first, take me back to the young Mary Martin. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Wales, Fitzsalmon embankment. I grew up on the River Taff, opposite the Millennium Stadium, which was then called, it wasn't Millennium Stadium, it was called Cardiff Arms Park.
Right. And do you remember your early childhood?
Well, not really, because I was brought up in a children's home. So, you know, my parents had said I was an unruly child, and there was 13 of us, so I had to go because I was making all the others get in trouble.
And how old were you when you were taken to the home?
I was 12.
So it's actually incredibly late. And you had how many brothers and sisters?
13 brothers and sisters.
All right. So
No, 12, sorry. Seven, no, 6 sisters and 5 brothers.
right. Okay. So 12, but 13 of you all together.
13,
They
yeah.
decide at the age of 12, which is a very old for somebody to be sent to a home, that they were going to send you off. What were the
Yeah.
circumstances? What were the circumstances leading up to that?
Oh, um, you see, my father, my mother and father were ministers, and I think what it was, I think my father used to beat us a lot, you know, when we were young, and I wasn't really happy with the beating. So rather than get a beating, if I was naughty in school and the teacher said she's going to tell my father, I always thought, well, I'm not going home. And it was more than once, until one day I really didn't.
And so when you didn't go home, where did you go to?
Oh, I went to my friend's house up in the docks, Phoenicia Phillips, a good friend of mine. We're still good friends up until this day. She lives in Canada now, though. It's my best friend.
And then it obviously got to a very tense stage where your parents said, unfortunately, we're unable to handle all 13 children.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, Andrew, my brothers and sisters used to call me Mary with the 7 devils. Only me. Mary with the 7 devils. They always used to call me Mary with the 7 devils. Up to now, I don't even know why they used to call me that.
Have you ever asked them?
Oh, no, no. I don't really see them. I don't really see my family anymore. I mean, I do see the ones who live far away. I mean, I talk to the ones who live far away, but I don't really see the ones who are here.
But
You
take
know,
me
I'm
back to
kind of a bit of a
that.
loner.
Yeah, I mean, take me back to that moment when your parents say to you what's going to happen. They're going to take you off to the home. Tell me about that conversation. How did it come about? What did they say to you?
Um, because I kept running away all the time and not coming in when they told me to come in and doing all these different things. And they said to me, I'm an unruly child and they can't look after me anymore because I'm making problems with all the other children, you know? Hello?
And for a 12-year-old child, because it's people don't really hear of these sort of cases. They normally, the children in the tragic situations where they are put into care or into homes and so on and so forth, it's normally a lot younger, isn't it?
Yeah, I think maybe they just tried their best, you know, but it was like church 7 days a week. It was in my house, church 7 days a week. You couldn't get away from it. I remember one day when I said to my father, I don't believe in God, and he chased me up that river bank. And that was one time I ran away. I ran really far, didn't come back. He didn't see me for 3 days. And I went down to my friend's house who lives in the docks in Cardiff docks. And I always used to like hide in the wardrobe so my mother wouldn't know I was in the room.
So very difficult. So where was the home you were taken to?
It was up in Caerphilly somewhere. I don't even know. I was in John Cain. I was in Dr. Bernardo. Even the children's homes didn't want to keep me in there. I was in about 10 different ones.
10 different homes. And what happened to
Yeah.
each of those? What happened to each of those homes that you couldn't stay?
Well, oh God, if I tell you, you're gonna think I'm crazy. And the first one was in Caerphilly, and in the night, I was so bored. It's because I'm a creative person, a creative being. I used to get all the children in the home, say, meet me downstairs at 12 o'clock. And I used to say, come on, we're doing a Ouija board. And I used to pretend that the devil was in me and go, rah! And I used to frighten all the kids everywhere I went. And they always used to chuck me out the children's home.
Good, but I mean, it's extraordinary. So when you say they chuck you out of a children's home, how does that
They just
work? Because
packed
when
me off. They just packed me off to another one because they wasn't going to keep me. They
right,
wasn't
so
going to keep me.
again, this is an area that you don't hear about very often. Is that one children's home
Yeah.
said, "I can't deal with Mary," and therefore you get sent to another one who says the same thing. How do they
And they
decide
sent me,
that another care home will take you?
well, they just passed me around from this home to that home, from this home to that home, until finally my auntie in Wood Green, she said she'd keep me.
And thank goodness for that. What's your auntie called?
My Aunt B, but she died 3 years ago.
And
She
that
just
must
died three
be
years ago.
so. From that point of view, I mean, this whole stage, because you're such a forceful character now, and I've known you for some time. I mean, how did you manage to cope with all this upheaval?
With all the what, sorry?
All the upheaval, all the difficulties, being moved from pillar to post, not getting love from the family, not being able to have a firm home, a firm base where you can grow up and find friends. And how did you cope?
No. Well, I always look at life on a positive side from when I was young. And, when I was in the children's home, I was quite happy because I thought to myself, oh, I don't have to have the hand-me-downs from Faith to Grace, from Grace to Sybil, from Sybil to Ruth, from Norma to Lorna to me. I wasn't having these clothes with holes in the sleeves anymore. So I was quite happy. I was having my own money to buy my own clothes, having my own things. And, when I was in the family of 13, I was sharing everything. So I was quite happy. I was quite happy. It wasn't really a trauma for me. I was quite happy with the circumstances because I became very independent at a very young age.
And going from that sort of side, as you say, it can make you, tragedy can sometimes make you a lot stronger, a lot firmer, a lot more committed
Yeah.
person. Did you ever speak to your parents about this when you came out of the homes?
Well, my father died when I was in there, and my mother, she got really sick. So, it wasn't really good. I never ever bothered my mother with any problems. I never told her anything. I didn't really speak to her in any ill way. I always loved my mother. So I just like didn't tell her nothing because I just wanted to protect her, you know. I didn't tell her any of my problems. I kept them all to myself.
But how did you feel? So your father died whilst you were in the home. Did you ever have a chance to speak with him after you were in the home?
He wasn't the kind of man that you could speak to. He wasn't. He wasn't the kind of man that you could speak to. All he wanted to do was pick up a strap and beat you. That was it.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, I got so used to it, I became immune. So in the end, me and my sister, we just used to laugh because sometimes when he was trying to beat us, if he was under the table, we used to wrap ourselves in like material. So we think he's beating us, and we say ah, but he wasn't beating us because we had the material wrapped around us under the table, you know. So
And
yeah, there was ways out of it. There was ways out. Put it that way.
and in terms of that, a lot of people say when they're, I mean, because you're talking effectively about abuse, and it's a really hard sort of way to bring people up. How did that mold you? Because you're a parent yourself now. How did that mold
Yeah.
how you brought up your children?
Oh, I treated my daughter like a princess. I treated my daughter like a princess. Yeah, I just loved my daughter. I just made sure that I followed her within the mind mentally to see where she was at, and I saw that my daughter was a creative as well. See, I was a creative child, and they most probably, that's why they call me Mary with the Seven Devils, because I was so outgoing and outrageous. But when you have creative children, they're a bit different to the others. And because I was the seventh child, six above me, six below, my father and mother only remembered the first and the last one. So basically, I was never remembered anyway. So maybe that's why I'm so out there, outgoing, extrovert. But my daughter, I treated her very nice, and what dreams and expectations she had in life, like she wanted to sing. I helped her. Well, I was a singer when I was young. I used to sing, and I gave up my singing career to help my daughter because she could sing better than me, and I didn't want to be in the competition with her. And she did quite well with the singing. She actually did that song with Groove Armada, my friend.
Yeah, an incredibly talented daughter and things like that. And But as I say, growing up, and so often people who've been abused as children, they go on to abuse. But you went the other way. I mean, you basically sacrificed your career to bring up your daughter.
Yeah, yeah. Which was a better option because she was younger than me. She had more life in her. She was an amazing performer, and she was very good. And basically, I wasn't as good as my daughter. I was still young because I had my daughter very young. But you know, I just put
How old
everything I
were you,
had into
Mary?
my daughter.
How old were you when
I
you had your
think I was
daughter?
about 14. I think I was about 14.
You were 14, so two
Yeah,
years after you went to the care home.
I was
And
14. 14 when I got pregnant because I only did it once. I didn't even know what I was doing, and that's what happened.
right, and who's the father?
Oh, he's dead. He's dead. He lived in North London, but he died. He died of cancer.
And did you have an ongoing relationship? You say it was just the first time that you had
Yeah,
sex.
no, yeah, but then we were friends. We were friends. We were friends, but we wasn't boyfriend and girlfriend. But we were friends. We was always with each other, if you know what I mean.
And was he in the care home as well?
No, he wasn't in the care home. When I came to London, when I came up to London, that's the first one I met. First guy I met.
So the first guy you met, what was his name?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Oh, I don't want to say no names. I don't want to mention any names.
No, that's fine. We can respect that. But the first guy you met, on the first night you fell pregnant. How did that make you feel?
Well, I didn't even know I was pregnant until I was 8 months. And I was doing
8 months.
cartwheels, splits. I was jumping up and down. I didn't know because, you know, I was young. So I didn't know.
And so,
You know, I only knew I was pregnant about 2 weeks before I had the child. And then Salisha came out in 15 minutes. I pushed her out.
good heavens. So how did you discover? Who told you you were pregnant?
Oh, when I went to the doctors and said I was sick, he said I was pregnant.
And when that happens, I mean, not only did he say you're pregnant, he says you're 8 months pregnant, so the baby's about
Yeah,
to arrive.
yeah.
What happened then?
Well, I had the baby and then I went into a mother and baby's home.
So you're 14, 15 at this time,
Yeah, 14, coming on to 15.
and whereabouts was the mother and baby's home?
That was actually up in Camberwell.
Okay, and tell me about life in there.
Oh, you know, I mean, when you've been brought up in a children's home, right, and you've had to struggle and you've had to fight all your life, being in difficult situations for me, it was just it was a normal life for me because every time I have all these different situations, it was always a normal life for me to be doing. Being in a mother and baby's home, that was better than being in the children's home. So I looked at that as a step up.
All right. So what's the difference then between a children's home and a mother and baby's home? I mean, the people
Right.
who
Okay. A children's home, you have to wake up at 7 in the morning to get down for breakfast at 8, and you have to clean up the home. You have to clean the children's home. You have to get the polish. You have to polish all the wood in there. You have to do all this cleaning in there, and then you can go out and play in the gardens. And then you come in for your supper. It's all controlled, and you know people tell you what to do. They got school and everything in there, and you do everything like that. But the mother and baby's home is more of a relaxed space because you're in control.
right, and what age group do they have for the mother and babies?
Oh, I don't know. You know, it was so long ago. It's so long ago, and everything's changed. Everything is so changed now. I don't even know, honestly.
But were the mothers a lot older than you? Did you notice they were older than you?
Oh yeah, the mothers were a lot older in there. They had like 3, 4, 5 children in there. You know, in the one rooms.
Right. So, and did you get any particular friends or guidance whilst you were in there to help you through this
No,
stage?
I didn't have it. No, I didn't have any friends in there. No, no. I just kept myself to myself.
And so you have your baby in there. Describe a day. I mean, you're a 15-year-old. You're a youth yourself. You're a teenager. And describe
Yeah.
the day. How would you spend it?
Oh, I just wake up in the morning, just put Salisha in the cot, and I'd be sitting on my bed. I'd take her out when she needs feeding, put her back in the cot, you know, maybe take her out for a walk in the pram, you know, around, get some fresh air, then come back, give her a milk again and whatever, then go to sleep. routine. It was a routine. It was an everyday routine.
And being only 15, effectively you were robbed of your childhood.
Well, I suppose so, if you'd like to call it that, but it's not robbed of the childhood. It's, for me, I thought it was quite nice. I thought it was quite sweet because I had another companion in my life to travel with me.
And that's a very interesting way of sort of putting it. So how long did you stay? You're 15 years old. How long did you stay in
Yeah.
that mother and baby's home?
Oh God, I think I was in there till I was about 16.
Right. And where did you go then?
I went to another mother and baby's home up in
Really?
Selhurst.
In Selhurst, okay. So
Yeah.
how do they decide what was the reason that you left that particular home beforehand and went to Selhurst?
Oh, the reason I left that one at that point is because I had another boyfriend who was stalking me, so I had to move from there because he wouldn't leave me alone. So I had to move to Selhurst.
And so the boyfriend, so when you have a baby, I mean, in order
Yeah.
to go out and unless they were part of the home, I assume they work, but it's just mothers and babies. How did you get to meet other people?
Oh, maybe on a Saturday night I might go out. If my sister would come over and look after Celicia, I'd go out,
And where would you go at that age?
just party in any club what was open really. I'd go partying anywhere. Sometimes we go down to Bristol, sometimes we go back down to Wales, we go anywhere really.
And then you'd leave your daughter with your sister during that time.
With my sister, yeah. Because my sister, she had a daughter as well, so she'd look after the two of them on the weekend if I wanted to go out.
Okay. And so the boy started to stalk you, the boy you met at a
Yeah,
party, and
the new
it became
boyfriend.
quite ugly.
Yeah, yeah, it was actually.
And so what
It
happened?
was. Oh, I don't really want to talk about that, Andrew, because it's too much, honestly. It's a long story. It's a long story, honestly, very long. Wouldn't have enough time on here to say all of that.
Well, I understand, but have you managed to speak to somebody not necessarily so publicly like this, but have you found some friends who've been able to guide you through that sort of stage, or did you feel quite alone?
Well, the thing is, because I've been brought up in a children's home, I'm quite a strong woman. Quite a, like, if something brings you down, just get back up and start again. I'm quite that woman. If you get knocks, you get back up, you go, you keep going, you keep it moving, keep it moving. It doesn't matter how many life knocks you have, you just keep it going, just keep it moving. That's what you have to do. That's how my life is, really.
Yeah, and
You
certainly,
know.
so you moved then to Selhurst. How long were you in Selhurst?
Oh, it's so long ago, I can't even remember. It's so long ago. I really, that part of my life, I just chose to forget about it because, I've moved on since then. It's very old news. And sometimes it's best to just leave it where it is.
Okay, but so after Selhurst, then where did you go?
After Selhurst, um, I can't remember. It's so long ago, I really can't remember. I must have got a home on the Old Kent Road or somewhere, I can't remember. Because I
So
was moving around. I was moving
council
around
then
again.
put you up in your
All
own
different
house.
houses. I was moving around from home to home, from home to home again. It was so much, so much.
And how many years did that go on for?
But moving around.
Yeah.
I think I only finally got settled in my life when I was about 34.
And where did you settle?
Well, I settled in Achilles Close off the Old Kent Road. It was a new housing facility which had just been built. And I settled there for a little while. And then that was it. That
And
was it.
what were you doing for money during all this time?
Oh, I was on Social Security at that. That was Social Security at that time in my life. You know.
And so your daughter's, obviously, if you're in your 30s now, she was probably a teenager herself now, wasn't she?
When? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so because she started singing quite young, and when was the first time you realized that she was a talented singer?
Well, I used to be a singer when I was younger. I used to do a little singing here and there, and basically, Celicia started singing with me, and I used to write songs, and she started writing with me. She used to give me some words and help me out. So I just thought, I just heard her singing and she just had a really beautiful voice. And I thought, ooh, that's nice. Very nice. So
And
I
then,
thought to myself, I push myself in life and I'm like, keep it going, keep it going. So I thought to myself, let me just put all my energy into my daughter. And then that's what I did.
okay, so not only was she a good singer, she actually started to get a career out of this, and a very successful career. What was
Yeah.
the big break for that for her?
She got signed to Motown at the age of 14.
And how did they discover her?
Well, I took her down to the studio actually, and she was doing some demos. She was doing some demo recordings down there with a band at that time were called Cruise, and it just all came to, it just all happened. Everything just happened.
So very lucky, you being focusing on your daughter, who's been, as you say, your companion at that sort of
Yeah,
stage in life. You then
exactly.
discovered and signed to the record label. And what happened then?
Well, she put her album out. We've done traveling around the world, and then we got signed to Big Life Records, which was Jazz Summers and Tim Parry. They also looked after Lisa Stansfield. They looked after the badly bought Drawn Boy, and a lot of acts he used to take on. But he signed Celicia.
And talk to me about her career. What were the big highlights? I mean, she had a very successful, obviously, record deal. She had a few hits by this stage as well. How did that make you feel?
Oh, I was really happy. I was really happy. I was just happy just to be traveling up and down and taking her to all the different countries. You know, we went all around the world with Korea, and you know, it was really, really nice. It was very nice.
And
Some
what
of
were
the
the big
places we
hits?
went
Remind
to.
us all of the big hits.
Oh, Rewind, which went in the national charts. Um, yeah, Rewind, and the one she did with the Groove Armada, My Friend.
No, they're fantastic. And so you then get a taste of a different life because of your daughter's success.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel?
Oh no, it wasn't too bad because I used to sing earlier on in my life, and I used to travel around with my singing. You know, I used to travel around all the country and everywhere with my singing because I had a kind of soul hit in the 80s. You
What was
know,
that?
and I was signed. I was Falling for You, and I was signed. I was well, the first black woman signed to an American company, Profile, back in the 80s. So that record did quite well. And I was signed to oh God, I can't even remember the record company. But I had been traveling around and doing my PAs before I noticed Alicia could sing, you know.
And you'd already obviously left the homes of this because we forget you were very young. So obviously by the
Yeah,
time you're
I was
18,
doing a lot.
19,
I was doing
20.
a lot. I was still doing a lot. I've always been active. I was still doing a lot.
So
I never
when
just
you
sat
had your
down.
hit, were you still a teenager? Were you about 18, 19, or were you early 20s?
Yeah, I was young. Well, I was young. I was about 20 something,
Right.
20 something.
Okay.
But I was up and down doing my singing, you know.
So
Hmm.
you
And I
enjoyed
used to,
success, your daughter enjoyed success, and that also then
yeah.
became the catalyst for you to have your own career and to change
Mm,
direction into the fashion world.
yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I was managing my daughter, and basically, as she was getting older, she started realizing that she doesn't want her mum with her all the time. So, you know, we decided that we'd part ways. So I thought to myself, oh God, I put my heart and soul into that girl. But you know, it's my daughter, and that's great. But you know, I don't think I'm going to put my heart and soul into anybody again. Although I did manage a few other bands after her, but they didn't work out. So I thought to myself, put all your energy into you, Mary. And then I started doing my designing, and that's where it all started.
And fantastic. And as an older student, you decide to go back and to study in the official thing. Talk to me about that stage.
Okay. Well, so my daughter was doing her fashion, um, was doing her singing. Sorry, my daughter was doing her singing. I took like a year out because I was in a bit of an abusive relationship. So I took a year, 2 years out, got rid of that husband, and started doing some heavy praying, asking God to help me because this was a point in my life where I didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do. So I just prayed and asked God to help me, show me the way. And I woke up one morning and I said, Mary, you're going to be a fashion designer. And I said, is that what you want, Lord? And he said, yes. So I said, okay. And then I just started sewing. The next day, honestly, the next day, after I said that prayer and I went out, I actually saw a machine in the shop for £10, a hand machine. So I bought it. And that's how it all started, really.
And you enjoyed quite considerable success very early on because you started to make clothes for some very famous people. Tell me about Heather Small.
Oh, Heather, yeah, she's one of my clients. She's lovely, such a beautiful, beautiful person. Yeah, I started making a few dresses for her, which she'd wear on the TV and to some of her performances. And also, you know, Melba Moore.
Mm, yes.
I made, oh my God, do you remember that pink and silver dress I made?
Oh, you made that?
Yeah, I made that pink and silver dress, and Melba bought that from me. When she comes to England, she always asks me, Mary, have you got any dresses? So she'll always get dresses from me for her performances, which I really appreciate that as well.
So how did that start though? Did you were mixing the same circles as Heather and Melba and things like that, or how did you meet? How did they come to find you as a talent?
Oh, I met Heather through an agent friend of mine. I met Heather through an agent friend of mine who asked me to do a photo shoot for her. That's how I met Heather. And also I met Denise as well from 5 Star. That's how I met Denise. I did a photo shoot for Denise. I was styling. I styled Heather. I styled Denise. As for Melba, it must have been word of mouth because I just got a call that said, oh, Melba Moore's in town. She needs a dress. She's seen your stuff. Could you bring something? I took a couple of dresses down there, and I think that's the second time I had dressed her. And the last time she was here, I think last year September, on this big party they had in the O2, and I dressed her for that as well. And she also bought that dress, the pink and silver dress. And that dress, to tell you the truth, the pink and silver dress which I made, there were some similar dresses down there at Chanel's department, but I had made that dress a long time before that they had made theirs. I'm not saying that they copied me or anything, but it looked very similar to my dress.
And so often in the fashion industry, you see, they say people have been inspired, but maybe somebody's seen a collection. Because I know, having visited your home a few times and been incredibly well fed and various other things, you are a prolific. You make loads and loads and loads of dresses and outfits and designs and get into wallpaper and things like that. How do
Right.
you go through that process and so much creativity? How do you manage that, and what is the process you go through when you're coming up with a new creation?
Well, oh look, I'll show you one because I've got one here.
Okay.
This one, I'll put the light on. Hold on. This one here. This one
Stunning.
here. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. I've got this one here. This one here I'm working on. I was working on this collection. Could you see it?
Yes, I can. It looks amazing.
I was working on this collection before. I was working on this collection before the COVID-19.
Yeah.
That was the collection I was working on. That was one of the prince's dresses. I was working on the dress of the return. That's what that's called. And didn't get no return because I ended up staying indoors. I was go to Switzerland and do that fashion show for the Swedish government, but I didn't get to go there. So I'm here with the dresses which I were making.
No, and it is interesting because some of your creativity, some of the designs that you come, like the one about, tell us about, for example, the iconic one like Cedric the Lion. Tell us how that came about.
Oh, Cecil the Lion.
Cecil the Lion, that's it, not Cedric. Cecil the Lion, you're right.
Cecil the Lion. Okay. I must say, I'm not an animal lover. I'm really not an animal lover because I've been bitten by the same dog twice when I was young, in the same spot on the same leg. So, I mean, I like animals, but I'm just frightened to go near them. But I was watching the news one day and the BBC actually, and I saw this beautiful, beautiful creature. It was a lion coming out of the bush. It was coming out of the green. It was all green like the jungle. And this beautiful lion came through, and it said one of the poachers had killed the lion. But the lion was so beautiful. The skin was, when I saw it, it just like hit me, it inspired me. And when I saw it, it was like a star. It looked like a shining star. So, you know, because the news had said that the poacher had killed the lion, and I was very, very saddened. So I looked at the lion again in coming out of the green jungle, and I pictured it. And when I looked, it was black. So basically, I made the dress black because it was a dress of mourning for the lion. I put all the tulle up here, the lion's tulle, and the dress down here was all sequin, and it was covered in the tulle on the top, and that was to you know, remember the lion when it was alive, but it was a dress of mourning.
Yeah. And you've also had that wonderful one, that the creative one with all the fox, which sort of drops down into it. It sort of changes as the model's halfway down the runway. Tell me about that.
Which one was that one?
That's the one with, I think, the foxtails or whatever it is. So, and that sort of side.
Oh, you mean, oh, no, no, no. That is called the foxtail dress.
Yeah,
That is actually called the foxtails dress.
Yeah, tell me
So
about
I
that.
always say to myself when I'm sewing, I'm the queen of the catwalk. I'm the queen of the catwalk. Nobody's going to take my place. Nobody's going to take my place. So when I'm sewing, that's my chant. I'm the queen of the catwalk. I'm the queen of the catwalk. Nobody's going to take my place. Nobody's going to take my place. So one day I was sewing, and I'm a great fan of Marilyn Monroe. Oh, I just love Marilyn Monroe. So I was picturing Marilyn in my head, and I made this dress called Foxtail. So the dress was like coming over the bust like this with the silver diamantes, and it was all black fitted, like hugging the hourglass body. But when you saw the dress come out onto the catwalk, I had a whole train of mink in there under the back of the dress, about a mile long. So you pick up the train of mink, you put it over your shoulders, and on the other side it's got some kind of check fabric, which is the lining which I used. So you put that over your shoulder like a coat. So if you've got that on, at the back is the fabric, and at the front, but inside is the fur, the fake mink. So when the model came up on the catwalk, and I said to her, when you get on the top of the catwalk, you hold the coat like this, and then you just throw it and let it drop. And when it dropped, everybody went, oh! And that was the reaction I wanted, because I always say I'm the queen of the catwalk. I love reaction. I love
And
it.
absolutely, and I've had the joy of doing a number of fashion shows with you, and it is that moment of theatre which you encapture.
I love it. I love
And it's
it.
brilliant.
I
And
love
you
it.
can tell you come alive when, especially at the end, when you walk down with all the models in your collection, and the love for you from the audience at that moment. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, but don't you understand? Now you know my story. I only feel accepted in life at the end of the catwalk. This is why I take it all in. That's why I love it. That's the only acceptance that I get in life, is at the end of the catwalk. And when I'm there and people appreciate me as a person in life, this is why I love being on the catwalk. That is my home. That is my home.
Yeah, and that certainly shows. And in addition to these iconic ladies' dresses and various other things, you've also started menswear and a men's range. Tell
Oh,
us about.
yeah. The last collection I did last year, I did because I finished my degree last year in July,
Congratulations.
and I made a collection which was called Slaves in the Trees, which was all the slaves in the trees. I printed that all on the coats and everything, and that went down well. I presented it at London Fashion Week, and I had all the men come out with no shoes on, like slaves, and no tops, and they just had these prints on, and that audience just loved the clothes. They loved the collection. That was one of my best collections, and then that kind of made me in a way think, oh, Mary, you could do some men's clothes if you want. So I started doing, hold on. I've started doing my COVID-19 collection, which is the men's collection, which is the hoodie and the mask. There you go.
I know a fashion designer mask. Fantastic.
Yes, fashion designer mask with the hoodie for the men. So I've started doing that collection there. Hold on. All different colors. There you go. All different colors. Trendy, bespoke. Hoodies like what you'd never see a man in. Hoodies what you'll never see men in. But I've just done them trendy and, you know, bold and bright to brighten up the world.
Mary, it's always a wonderful delight to catch up with you. What are your plans for the future?
Oh, well, okay. My plans for the future is to be a digital entrepreneur. I mean, nobody knows what's happening with the fashion world now because it's not bricks and shops, and it's all not out there anymore. So I think I'll be a digital entrepreneur. So I've started doing these fashion stories with people in the fashion business. You know, it might be shoes, shoe designer, stylist, photography. I'm doing all these fashion stories, and the reason I'm doing the fashion stories and doing them digitally is because when I was in university studying, it was really hard for me. You know, I was the only black woman in my class, and all the other kids were girls, and they were looking at me like I shouldn't be there. So I really felt really funny. But I said to myself, you know what? Doesn't matter what these people say to me or what they do. I am going to just keep on going. One of the little girls said to me, "Oh, we've all been talking about you and we think you're rude." And I said, "Thank you." And after that, they never spoke to me again. So, you know, I had to struggle. I had to struggle and struggle and struggle. And all I was thinking about, Mary, you know, I never went to school. I forgot, I didn't tell you, I didn't go to school. I couldn't read and write up until 6 years ago. I couldn't read and write. And I went straight to the adult center, maths, English, straight in to do I went straight in to do what did I do? Oh God, I did a graduate. I did one graduation with the first exam I did, and then I went straight to the college to do that, and I passed straight all the way through. So it wasn't that I wasn't intelligent, it's just that I didn't get the time to go to school because I was always moving around. So all I was thinking about when I was in the university, don't worry what people are saying, don't worry about the reaction. Yes, you are a big woman in the university, but you know, you're entitled to go there, Mary, as well. And because I didn't get any schooling in my life, this is one thing that I really wanted. So I just focused and I just said, Mary, think about the paperwork. And that's all I thought about was the paperwork. Even when I went to get even when I graduated on that day, and I was sitting in the middle of the stage, right in the middle of the stage, this is how bad they were. When I went to the toilet and came back, they all moved up and left me on the end. But I said to myself, don't worry, Mary, just get up there, get your papers. And when you get your papers, you can go home. And I was going home anyway, because everybody else went off to take pictures. Nobody didn't even worry about me. But I said to myself, but Mary, remember, you're the queen of the catwalk. Half of them people over there, they might not even get to the catwalk. So in a way, I was grateful that God had put me straight through to finish my degree. And, you know, I felt sorry for them because I know half of them would not even end up in the fashion business. So I just have to thank God for seeing me through that. And I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
And what an incredible inspiration that is, because I think so many people, when they face adversity, people always say there's always somebody worse off than you.
Oh, do you know, if it wasn't for my teacher, I was ready to give up. If it wasn't for Emma Carey, one of the teachers at the university, I said to her, Emma, you know, I can't do this anymore. It was too much for me. I really can't do this anymore. She said to me, Mary, you know, I was really counting on you. I was really counting on you. I really thought that you could do this, and I really believed in you. And when she said that to me, I just made sure that I passed them exams. You know what? It's funny, you know, Andrew, because when I went to the London College of Contemporary Arts before the East London University, when I went on my first interview at the London College of Contemporary Arts, that teacher, the dean, I went to see the dean, and when I showed him my work, he didn't want me in the college to do my it wasn't a degree. It was what's the other one before the degree?
A levels, is that what you get? Is that?
No, after A levels, after levels.
I'm not sure. I'm
Well,
not sure.
I've got that.
There are different things that you can get for different degrees and different higher education and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it was HND. It was a HND.
Okay,
That's right.
Okay. Yeah,
So I went to do the HND, and the dean said that I couldn't go in the university and in the college. So I said, okay. I was really upset. I went away, saw a friend of mine. He said to me to go back. I waited 2 weeks, and I went back, and I put on a ginger wig, you know. I put on a ginger wig. I sat down again. I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, don't let me have that man. Don't let me have the dean. And thank God he gave me another lady, one of the other lecturers over the other side. So when she saw my work, And this time I didn't bring in all the good stuff. I just average. And she said I can go go to the university. And then that's when I started the university. But the first week I was in there and I saw the dean and he looked at me, I just changed my voice and said, "Oh, excuse me, do you know where the toilet is, please?" And I ran out.
Oh, glorious.
Oh, that's my life.
No, and incredible, Mary. It is a life of survival. It all sounds a bit twee when people say
Yeah.
that, but the reality is when people hear your story and realise that actually through all the laughter, there's an awful lot of pain there, isn't there?
Yeah, well, the pain is gone after a little bit of time. You know, pain is what you make it. Okay, I might have had a rough start in life, but I have to look at myself as a little star. I have to look at myself like a little star which wasn't glittering. The star that wasn't clean, it was dusty. This is the way I look at myself. I was a dusty little star. I just had to polish myself going through life until I started to shine. And you know, like I told you, I just found myself. So when I get on that catwalk, as soon as I walk out and I feel people appreciating me, appreciating my work, then I feel like I've been really accepted in life. And that's the only time I feel accepted. Anywhere else or anywhere, any time, any place, I don't feel accepted. It's just natural. Only place I feel accepted is on the catwalk. And I always say I'm the queen of the catwalk. Nobody's going to take my place because I really don't want to ever get away or let that feeling go away. It's so beautiful.
And finally, Mary Martin, how would you like to be remembered?
How would I like to be remembered? I'd like to be remembered like a little shining star who Jesus loved, you know. Jesus loved, and I try to inspire people, and I try to inspire the world. I try to inspire the world. Any little thing I do, you know, any little thing I do in life, I always try to inspire the world because I've had so many downs more than ups. So anytime I get ups, and I try to think positive and make life as positive as I can, because I think there's a lot of people in all sorts of situations out there. And, you know, sometimes people tell you their stories and you have to say to yourself, do you want to hear mine? And, you know, when they hear your story, they can see that their story is only a fraction of yours. And then they start to open their eyes and see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I'd like to be remembered by.
Well, Mary Martin, Queen of the Catwalk, thank you so much for joining me.
Okay, thank you. My pleasure.
It's been a joy.
Bye.
I'll see you soon. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So joined by Mary Martin, all her details down in the comments below. If you'd like to take part in this series, Lives on Lockdown, write to me, lol@octopustv.com. Don't forget to subscribe to Octopus TV for all of this exclusive content. We will bring you people from every walk of life, the world's best characters, both here in the UK and around the world. Until next time, be good, be safe, stay alert.